Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at the top 10 underground rock songs from Bandcamp so far in 2017. So that's coming up. So the first song is Lush by Heat. Heat is an indie rock band from Montreal, Quebec. And they've released a demo tape, or they've released an EP, and earlier this year, in January actually, they released, or maybe in February, I'm not sure, they released a full-length EP, which is called Overnight. There is a great collection of tracks on here. Susil, Raphael, and Matthew, these are the band members of the band. They actually create this sound that almost remind me a bit of Phoenix. There's a bit of Pavement in here. There's a bit of My Bloody Valentine. Lush is a song that provides this very lo-fi sound quality, but it's blended together with this 80s poppy melody. You also have these whispery vocals and these guitar sounds that are just washed together with many different effects, and that is what I'm saying, why I'm comparing them to My Bloody Valentine, because they're very shoegazy in a way. Lush just hit the sweet spot for me, so I hope it does the same for you. Next up we have Houseboat by Slowpoke. Slowpoke is a psychedelic and garage rock band from Madison, Wisconsin. They create this sound that reminds me a little bit of Mac DeMarco. There's some Tame Impala here, and if you throw in some waves as well, you get their sound. That is what they sound like. What I specifically love about the song, Houseboat, is that it mixes together this middle ground, this middle part of the song, where it's very rough around the edges, very punky, and then it goes over to these very down-to-earth, airy, and very psychedelic verses. It's a very simple, satisfying and fast progressing song that manages to find that middle ground between something that is very rough and something sweet. Next up we have Peaches by Lung. Lung is a two-man band from the UK consisting of Kate Wakefield and Daisy Kaplan. And what immediately will strike you when you listen to Peaches, the song right here, is that Daisy is using a cello, an electric cello, as opposed to an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar, and that is what makes this song and their overall sound so different. The cello sounds very raging and violent, while Daisy's vocals are very angelic and theatrical at times, and this is what makes their sound very polarized. It's a I can't speak here. It's a juxtaposition of contrasting sounds that fuse together to create this weird yet satisfying harmony. If you want something that is really raw and theatrical, then Peaches and Lung in general is something that you want to check out. Next up we have Care by David Bazan. And honestly, I was a little bit hesitant when I came up with this song for the list, because David Bazan actually, he's not underground, he has this middle ground cult following situation going on, and but this song is just amazing nonetheless, so I wanted to include it on the list. It's gotta be on here. Care is the melancholic and heartbreaking song that opens the album by the same name. It's easily one of the most heartfelt and evocative songs that I've listened to throughout 2017, and the only reason why I think that is the case is because David Bazan has this very original, very authentic voice. His way of delivering his vocals and the heart and gut-wrenching lyrics is just so believable. He's performing with such a big heart. It's hard for me to describe what is going on here, but there's something about his music and his delivery that is just so it really touches you in a very deep way. You also have these synthetic digital instruments that almost bring me back. It makes me nostalgic. It makes me think about video games from the early 2000s. And that may sound very, very weird, but just listen to the instruments. If you were born in the 80s or the 90s, you will listen to the instruments and immediately think, it's electronic, but it's so simplistic that it could almost be music that is featured in a video game. And that is what also another thing that makes this song and his album Care so out there. It's so fresh and yeah, it's a must listen. Track number 5 is In the Beginning There Was Us by Heavy Black Matter. Combine 3 Parisians with 1 Australian dude, a lot of wine drinking and several trips to China, and you've got yourself into the sound and the culture of Heavy Black Matter. The vocalist sings with this very clear and obvious French accent, and that is not a bad thing. It actually makes the music more outstanding in a way. Also, when I listen to the song, it reminds me of some 60s classic rock song. I don't know exactly what, but it just brings me back. The whole composition, the lyrics, the instruments, the melody, it's very lowbrow, but that is what makes it good. It's not intended to be that serious. It's intended to be fun, and that is what makes it such a pleasure to listen to. Next up, at number 6, we have The Code by Morning Teleportation. Morning Teleportation is an experimental and psychedelic rock band. I'm not sure where they're from. They have a bit of a scanty list of albums despite of how long they've actually existed. They were founded back in 2005. They released an album in 2011 and one in 2017. And that is it. Not that there's anything bad about that. It's just that a lot of bands nowadays have become very prolific with their output of music, and this is quite different. The Code is a song that is ever-changing. It is very enticing from the start. It features this very catchy guitar hook. Their composition style is very progressive. They're jumping from one genre to another. It's very direct hard rock in the start. Then it becomes they involve more horns, it becomes more theatrical in a way. Then at the end of the song they also include some waltzy rhythms, and it's just an ever morphing track that is never leaving you settled for what you get. It plays with noise, it plays with volume, it was just something that really shocked me when I first listened to it, to be honest. So go and check it out. Next up, we have Bruce Hated Puppies by Christian Fitness. Christian Fitness is the moniker of Andrew Falkus, who was very prolific in his early days in 2000s and onwards in the Welsh noise and punk rock community. He's very well known for his tongue-in-cheek, humorous lyricism, and that is something that you can also find in this song right here. It tells the story of this guy who's called Bruce, who is hating puppies. It's the worst thing that he can think of in life. So every time he sees a row of pet shops, he just curses them. And every time he sees a puppy in a picture, he would cut out the heads of the puppies. It's kind of weird and obsessive. It's a weird story, but it's at the same time it's humorous and lowbrow, and I like it. In the song, Falkus is also trying to convince us that although Bruce is kind of weird, he has this weird puppy thing going on, he is also just a purely nice guy. The narrative is very easy to understand, it's hilarious, and it also features this very crunchy and very addictive bass and guitar pattern that it's just instantly gonna be on your mind and be on a spin for the next following days. At least that is what I experienced with the song. At number 8, we have Recently Played by Crumb. Stepping away from the noisy, tongue-in-cheek approach of Christian Fitness and into this 4-piece Boston, New York psychedelic rock band, which is Crumb, is quite a contrasting experience. Crumb is a band that is not only psychedelic, they create this bricolage of music that dwells within psychedelia, but also jazz and pop. Leela Romani, the vocalist of the band, performs these really just life-affirming, warm and welcoming vocals. Every time I listen to this album and this song specifically, it's just so soothing to the ears. Every single part of Recently Played, the wavy guitar chords, the weightless synth notes, and even the switch up between time signatures is just happening so organically that it's it's hard to believe. The song is over before it has started when you listen to it, or at least that is what I'm experiencing. I need to play it over and over, and that's kind of affirming the title of the song, Recently Played, because this will be in your recently played playlists. Moving on to number 9, we have Ethyl by Vox and The Hound. Ethyl is actually also the 9th track off of the album that the band put out not too long ago, and this is a very progressive track from a band that is otherwise jumping between all of these different subgenres within rock music. They never seem to settle within anything. They're quite experimental and very nimble when it comes to what they want to create. They are so versatile. But nonetheless, Ethyl is a very progressive, hard rock based track. It starts in a very dreamy manner with these acoustic, subtle guitar chords and these filtered drum loops. The song is evolving all the time. It ricochets back and forth between variations in volume, time signatures, and instrumental lineup. And every single time I listen to the chorus, I get goosebumps because it's just so finitely, I don't know if that is even a word, but it's just so, it comes together in such a magnificent way. There's also something about the vocal projection here, the vocal delivery, that is so real, it's so convincing. Ethyl by Vox and the Hound, go and check it out. They definitely deserve to be heard. Now closing in at the 10th and last track, we have Gert Soul by the Psychedelic Po Crumpets. Australian psychedelic band Psychedelic Po Crumpets made quite a boom when they released their 2 brother albums, High Visceral 1 and 2. Some people believe that they should have made a bigger impact, but I don't know, maybe if they continue to create records and continue to tour, they will become a bit more famous, but again, I don't know. In this song, Gert Soul, they basically bridge the gap between psychedelic rock and hard rock, and that is, in a way, it's concluding what they did throughout their whole 2 full-length albums. It starts out with this furious guitar-driven melody that swirls into a very lightweight verse. Thereafter, you're introduced to these inventive changes in the rhythm, in the guitar, and also in terms of the saxophone. The saxophone is making an appearance here, and it's just, yeah, it's a very noteworthy, very outstanding track, and that is the main reason why I'm having it on this list. So check it out. Gert Soul. So that is it, guys. That is it for the list. I hope that you dig this. I hope that you listen to some of these songs and just get a wow experience, just like I did. And yeah, that is basically it. Let me know what you think about this list in the comments below. Also, if you like to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp, then I highly suggest you click the red subscribe button below. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon beside the subscribe button, because in that way you'll always get notified when I upload new videos to this beautiful place right here. Take care, guys. Hope to see you later. Stay tuned.